Hello, and welcome to the WokabautTokabaut Show with NCSL. I'm your host, Callaghan Tanda. This is episode 2, and today we talk about our new interest rates and charges, and even the higher returns for our contributors and particular affordable loans as well. But before we start our discussions, we now turn our attention to a very special guest who joins us at the start of our podcast. In this episode, let me please make welcome our Chief Executive Officer for NCSL, Mr. Frans Kut.
Thank you, Gulen.
Now, Chief, firstly, welcome to the program. For yourself, how has the year gone by so far? We're now into our 7th month, but how's NCSL been doing?
Well, at the moment we're doing well. I must say that the first couple of months were not that good, and our members realized that, they know, and they felt it, unfortunately. But we are almost back to normal, and by the end of the month we should be completely normal, right? Yeah, we had issues with the allocations of the contributions, but it has been covered now. There's still some small issues, but they will be cleared by the end of the month.
Yeah. Now, as the saying goes, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. In any case, and you've been bouncing back from a rough start.
Yeah, very rough start this year.
Now, with that being said, of course, you'll be also looking to inform our members of some great news that NCSL is going to be delivering to them. Now, who better to spread the good gospel than yourself at the helm of the ship?
Well, the good gospel is that we have changed our interest rates, and in a positive way.
Wow.
For instance, the savings interest went up, so it means that people get more on their savings.
Mm-hmm.
And the interest rates on our lending went down. So on the 1st of July, interest rates have changed. So, and if the prices for the loans reduce, that means that they pay less for loans. But it is only for new loans. The existing loans, there's fixed rates, so they're still the same. But for new loans, they will enjoy the new rates.
Now, regarding the savings rates, is this for all accounts across the board, or is it just specifically for certain accounts?
For all our accounts, for our general savings, it is for our education savings, for the Christmas savings, and for the kids account. So for all four, and especially those for the Christmas savings and for the kids account, they went up dramatically because we decided to pay 6%.
6%?
Which is a very high interest on the market, yeah.
Now, is the 6% across the board for all the accounts, or do specific accounts actually have a certain percentage increase?
If you have a kids account, we pay you 6%. And those who have a Christmas account, they will get also 6%, right? Yeah. But also the other rates are not bad, because we are paying 1.75% on the general savings, which is still very competitive. It's per annum, right? I mean, it's still very competitive. You compare it with other institutions. And by the end, or at savings and loans institutions are doing, we are sharing almost between 70 and 80% of our income every year, of our profit, and it goes back to members. And that will be paid on the general savings account. So beside this 1.75, if we are making a profit, it will be an addition to the 1.75.
So Christmas savings gone up to 6%, kids savings up to 6%. 6%. Education savings, I believe, is up to 3%.
That is 3%. Well, it was already 3%, it's still 3%.
It's still 3%,
yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
All right, so we're not going to sugarcoat anything here or do anything that might make people think otherwise in this case. Now, most importantly, when it comes to paying back the loans, the 1:1 ratio, the 1:2, and the 1:5.
Yeah.
You've mentioned that there's been a drop in that.
Well, especially on the 1:1, which is actually a fully secured loan. That is, we reduced that dramatically to 14%.
Wow.
And 14% is nominal rate. And now I'm not going to explain what I did last year, because it's confusing a lot of people. But rates are paid by the different companies also in a different way. We are using, I have to explain it to our audience. We, like banks are doing, like we are paying it a compound rate on reducing balance. What does that mean? that the interest rate is calculated over the reducing balance. So does it mean that at the end of the year you paid 14%? You paid less. You even paid around 8 or 9%. There are there are a lot of different ways of calculating rates. There are companies where are charging a flat rate. It means if you have to pay 14%, then by the end of the year, you still really paid 14%. So, for instance, we take 10,000 kina. If you get 14%, that at the end of the year, you paid 1,400 kina.
That's right.
In our case, you paid around 800 or between the 800 and the 950 kina. I don't know the exact amount, but you know there's quite a difference. So people, when they check rates at banks and financial institutions, always check what you're paying every month and what you're paying per annum.
So
whether it's nominal or compounded rate. Yeah, it's a big difference.
You should do that, and you should be thinking about parking your money with NCSL, tokaut. With that being said as well, 1:2 ratio, I believe it's been a bigger dramatic drop.
That also have been dropped. It went is now at the moment it's 20%. 20% per annum, right. There's also dropped per annum, right? Yeah.
And finally...
And then the 1-5, which is our unsecured loan, well, it's still, because as a savings and loans, we want people to save. So there's always a savings component to our loans. And in this case, it means with 1-5 means 20% of your loan should be savings.
That's amazing. Now, coming back to our savings, as far as general savings go, will there be further announcements on that particular rate later on in this year?
Sorry, on the?
Will there be any further announcements regarding the interest rates?
Well, we don't. We would love to do that, but we like to see first how this is going. Savings rates, they're floating. So we can change interest rates. So when we change interest rates on your savings,
yes,
it means there's a direct effect on your account. The interest rates on loans are fixed. So it means if you have a loan of 48 months, so 4 years, it's fixed during that period. Or when you are applying for a new loan, then you get the newest interest. And at this moment, the 1st of July, we're looking at these particular interest rates, but it could be that during the year, interest rates are changing. They can go up, but they're going to also, they can go down, but they can also go up. Oh, and beside that, maybe it's very important to mention that we don't charge account service fees. Again, that is the reason why I like to warn everyone who is looking for, especially for loans, always check how much interest you are paying in total. Because it's not only the interest often which you're paying, you're also paying all kinds of fees. And that can go up quite dramatically, right? It can go up even to 80, 100% what you're paying on interest. And I noticed that a lot of people here in PNG are not interested in that. They're only interested in what do I pay per month or what do I pay per fortnight. And then they don't ask for interest rates. And the finance companies, or so-called finance companies, they are making use of that.
Now, this really brings me to a big question here. Mm-hmm. You've increased your interest rates, you've reduced your loan rates,
correct,
and now you're not charging service fees.
Yeah, it all comes from our income.
That's the question. How is all of this possible? It sounds too good to be true.
We are, as the savings and loans, we are a not-for-profit organization. We don't have investors like larger companies have. So investors are not pushing us for having more, right? And we looked at, and as you might know, Kologan, every year you see in the newspaper the interest crediting which some companies are, some savings and loans, and also us, are paying back to. So we are paying back part of our income to our members. right? Called interest crediting.
Yes.
And some say, wow, we're paying 9%, another say we're paying 12%, and another says, whoa, we have 6%. I think ours was about 3%. At the end, it is about the profit you're making every year, and 80%, and I mentioned it before, goes back to our members. However, no one tells us how much money we have to make every year. So instead of making all this profit, we decided to reduce our profit during the year and let our members enjoy already a better interest rate on their savings and on their loans.
With that being said, obviously to the average contributor for NCSL, how does this affect them? Or what do you hope? What do you hope should be the effect on them?
Now, first of all, what we hope is that more people start saving. And savings here is quite difficult, right? Because we have a lot of people who are not having very high salaries, so they can only save a small amount. They can side it. We hope actually that with these interest rates, people start to understand that it would be useful to set aside every time a small amount. With the lowering of, with the reducing of the interest rates on our loans, it means actually that, well, if you charge a lot as a company, it means that you have to pay as a client a high installment every fortnight or every month. With this reducing, it means that you're paying less. It means that, well, you have more money left from your salary or from your income every fortnight or every month. Right? So it has an effect, a positive effect, and that's what we are looking for.
And finally, I wanted to ask, you noticed that Papua New Guinea were not really a savings culture, for that matter.
Yeah, that's what I know, right, yeah. Unfortunately, it is. Right.
Unfortunately, that is the case. What would be your advice to Papua New Guineans? And this is just Papua New Guinea in general, not just NCSL members, but those who should be thinking about saving for their future, putting something aside. Yeah. And apart from that, making sure that people do understand that there's a great facility here at NCSL for them to actually come and park their money with.
Yeah, well, if you have money, but we have also a transaction account, which is our Poro account, right? So for your transactions, for your daily, for your groceries or whatever you buy, you use the Poro account. Whatever you have left after a fortnight or after a month, put it aside, put it either on the general savings account, and if you don't need to have that money immediately, put it on a Christmas account. And the Christmas account is a bit different than a normal savings account, because a savings account, you call it on call, right? Or the general savings, people can take it whenever they would like to, when they need money. On the Christmas account, it's more or less fixed. Only during 3 months every year, you can take money from that account. That's also the reason why we're paying you extra, an extra interest, right? So we like people to start managing their savings, even when it's a small amount, even when it's a 10 kina or maybe even less every fortnight. Put it aside, put it on an account. I mean, and that way, well, we have very nice stories, and I hope that people also looking at our website, we have very nice stories from people who saved and set money aside, and they can use it for, well, yeah, there's so many reasons why you can use your money for, right? So save, right. Beside that, we do a financial literacy training, right? So we go to companies on a regular basis and try to, well, actually explaining the employees what it means to save. So we have a special presentation on savings.
Well, CEO, I think that's some good sound advice for our contributors out there and also for the everyday Papua New Guinean watching this particular podcast. With that being said, I'd like to thank you very much for your time as our special guest appearance for this episode, and we look forward to some more great announcements throughout the rest of the year from you and your team at NCSL.
Thank you, Kurigan. Thank you very much for this interview, and thank you, all members and those who are not members and looking at our podcast.
Once again, you're watching the Walkabout Talkabout Show with NCSL. And I'll turn my attention to my guest who joins me after, of course, our special appearance by our CEO, Franz Kut. But let me turn my attention to the manager of product management, none other than Susan Kemmer, who joins me as well. Susan, again, Franz coming in, loading, or should I say, giving out a whole list of new things and new rates, in other words, increased rates for the savings, different savings accounts, and of course, reduced rates on the loan products that you have. That's a pretty big list that's come through. For many of our contributors out there who will be benefiting from this, when do these actual rates actually kick in?
Thank you, Callaghan, for having me on this show. The rates came into effect on the 1st of July, 2025, this year. Yeah, our savings have increased and our lending rates have decreased. The old rates from our general savings was previously on 1.5%. It's now at 1.75%. That's an increase of 0.25%.
Wow.
And our Christmas savings was on 3% per annum. Now it's at 6% per annum. That's an increase of 3%.
That's double.
Yes. And for our kids' savings account, also was at 3% per annum. Now it's at 6% per annum. Again, another 3% increase. And the education savings still remains at 3%. And while our Poro account used to have an interest rate of 0.5% per annum, that has now been removed because it's a transactional account. Yeah.
So it's a transactional account from now. Great. Now, in considering all of this as well, for the loans themselves, for the loans, we've mentioned the 1:1 now at 14%. How has that changed? What was the old rates compared to now? The new rates moving forward.
Yes. So personal interest rates have significantly decreased. So the 1:1 loan was at 23% per annum. Now that's at 14% per annum.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a decrease of 9%. Yeah.
True.
And our 1:2 personal loan was at 26%. Now it's at 20% per annum. Another 6% decrease. And the personal loan 1:5 is now at 26% per annum, used to be at 30% per annum. So that's a 4% decrease in our personal loans. Yes.
Now, for those who probably might be currently paying off their loans, in this case, can either be 1:1 or 1:2 or 1:5. When they hear about this new the new loan reduction, is it automatic that they stop paying, or do they still maintain that, or does it apply to anyone who's getting a new loan now pays under the new rate?
The new rates on the personal loan only applies to new loans for someone who hasn't taken out a loan yet, and you are applying for a loan starting 1st of July. You pay on the new interest rate. But for members that have existing loans, the old rate still applies, so they still get to pay on the old rate until and as when they request for a top-up or additional loan. That's when the new rate kicks in. Yeah.
That's what I was going to be my next question. If we're talking about an additional loan on top, some people like to use the term refinancing. In any case, so the new rate can still apply if you top up on your loan account again.
Correct. So if you have a 1:1 loan, for example, and you want to get another additional, let's say 200 is our minimum loan amount you can borrow on a 1:1. So if you top up for a 200 kina, then automatically the 14% per annum then applies on your additional loan that you're taking. And likewise for 1:2 and 1:5 loan.
Oh, thank you very much for that. Now, in terms of the savings and the new increased interest rates on the savings, what's the reasoning behind some of these savings accounts, like say for instance the Christmas account, having a higher increase compared to others such as general savings for that matter. Any particular reason behind this?
Yeah. So the features of our savings accounts, like the Christmas and the kids, because they're locked in for a certain period of time, that gives the benefit of the member having to earn more interest. So then we keep the interest, so that in that way we increase the rate, so they earn more interest on their savings, while like the general savings and the education savings, because the savings is accessible by the member. Example, the education savings, it's anytime, so that's why the rate is kept at a much lower rate. Yeah.
Now, from your perspective as the manager for product management, there's many different products that come through it. We did touch on the importance of Papua New Guineans having a mindset of saving in this case. If you could reiterate a message to our contributors and our interested viewers, in other words, if you're not a member of NCSL, you better become one. But if you could give a message to them in terms of why it's important to save, and from your experience seeing some cases, you don't have to give details, but from that, well, why is it so important for us to put money aside for a rainy day?
Exactly. Everyone saves for a purpose, whether it's for school fees, it's for traditional obligations, like coming from, uh, as us in a Melanesian culture, culture, we have so many obligations as a Papua New Guinean. So the importance of saving, uh, yeah, it's very important. Um, in terms of the increase in the interest rates for our savings, that puts more money into, an ordinary Papua New Guinean saving. Um, what little they have on top of that 50 kina or 100 kina they're saving with NCSL, it does make a lot, given our, economical, you know, situation we're in now. The price then on our goods and services are increasing. So it helps the member to save. So the more you save, the more interest you earn on your savings. And where you have a financial need uh, to be met, our lending or our personal loans are there to assist at a lower interest rate. So we charge interest on our reducing balance. So it gives the member that flexibility of, having less repayment amount, and so that they have a, more, take home pay at the end of the day. Yeah.
And for Papua New Guineans who would like to join NCSL, I think it's quite important to note that if you're working for an employer, in other words, it's always good to have your HR guys, the admin, accounts payable, whatnot, get in touch with the NCSL team to ensure that you can become a member easily and your pays and your allocations are done in a very orderly fashion. In other words, signing on to the My NCSL portal as well. But speaking of which, I do understand that there's been a company that's actually come on board and signed on with NCSL to enable their employees to now open accounts with NCSL. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, so we've recently signed up our MOA, a Memorandum of Agreement, with New Britain Palm Oil for the small growers. So that's an exciting news for small growers that have joined at this time where we have changed our interest rates. It gives them that, benefit of them saving with us, NCSL, getting more on their savings. Yeah. And where they need assistance in terms of loans, they get it at a better price or a lower cost. Yeah.
And that's great, wonderful news for our smallholder farmers out there doing it tough in the rural areas, ensuring that they are keeping up with industry demands in this case. And again, let me just extend my congratulations to the New Britain Palm Oil Company for making that MOA possible and joining on to NCSL. Now, in saying this, very, very importantly, I think as what your CEO mentioned as well, one of the most key things where many times we tend to question how much money we put into certain savings or whatnot is the main key fact that there are no fee charges being done for processing or whichever it is. I think that's such great news from HCSL. How is that possible? That's what always baffles me.
Yeah. So in April, we have removed the maintenance or the account maintenance fee from our Christmas savings, our education, general savings, kids. There's the MMJV housing scheme,
Wow.
our loan service leave savings products. We've removed those account maintenance fees, so at least it gives, a member saving 1 kina every month. Yeah,
And that 1 kina goes a long way.
exactly. And also on our the lending, we've removed the loan service fee. Um, that was at 0.25% per month. That was charged monthly. We've removed that on all our personal loan accounts, especially on
Wow.
the 1:5 loan. So now member gets to pay lesser fees on our personal loan account.
Well, there's more reasons now for you to come and save with NCSL, and at the same time, in terms of getting a loan, 1:1, 1:2, 1:5, it's all up to you because I can see no other reason to make you not want to come and put money here at NCSL. With that being said, Susan Kema, Manager, Product Management, I'd like to thank you so much for your time, and do please keep us posted with more of the great announcements, more of the great products with NCSL as well. And I do believe we do have a survey that's being put up for some people to actually win some cash, or should I say, contributors to win some cash. Could you tell our contributors and our viewers more about that?
Thank you. So we've sent the survey out 11th of July today to our members. So please do take the survey. It's about improving our products and services. So we'd like to hear from you. Please do take part. There's a cash prize of 200 kina for 10 lucky winners. This this survey is running for 2 weeks. So please do take the time to complete because we really want to hear from you as our valued members. And it will really help us, NCSL, to improve our products and services going forward.
That's right. So you can take part in the survey today. To find out more about the survey, simply log on to www.ncsl.com.pg. And like I mentioned, many great things happening with NCSL. And through just answering questions on the survey, 200 kina people, that could be easily credited to your NCSL account. With that being said, Susan, I'd like to thank you so much for your time. And I can't wait to see what other great products NCSL will be announcing in the coming weeks along. And who knows, you might rope in your CEO again, Friend Scoot, again for another great announcement. But with that being said, keep up the great work.
Thank you, Callaghan.
With that being said, that's been our second episode here on the WokabautTokabaut Show, talking about the great new rates, courtesy of NCSL, regarding our new and improved savings rates. In other words, that's right, we're talking about you saving money going up at least by 6%. Can you think about it? From 3% jumping up to 6% for certain particular savings, particularly with the Christmas, and also for general savings from 1.5% going up to 1.75%. Reduced loan rates 1:1 being reduced to about 14%. And of course, all our respective 1:2 and 1:5 being reduced. What can I say? And they've even cut off the service fee and even the loan service fee as well. Well, so many great things happening. We're here at NCSL, and they're trying to save you money. A simple kina goes a long way, and you got to save for a rainy day. And I think that's been the message that my two special guests, of course, special guest appearance by CEO Friend Scoot. Thank you very much for his time as well. And of course, we just concluded with our manager, product management from NCSL, Miss Susan Kema. Please keep up the great walkabout and the talk about with NCSL in our next upcoming episode. With that being said, please don't forget to check out our YouTube channel as well on NCSL, NCSL Savings and Loans. That's available on YouTube. Please like and follow our channel as well. And don't forget, also follow us on Facebook as well, on the NCSL Facebook page. Again, I'm Callaghan Tanda. Until next time, keep up the walkabout and the talk about with NCSL.